Disrespect is often misunderstood. People treat it as a final judgment on their worth, character, or status, when in reality it is a moment of exposure. Test unfolding in real time. When someone disrespects you, what is actually happening is not a declaration of who you are, but an opportunity revealing how grounded you are. Tests are temporary by nature. They come, they provoke, and they pass. Verdicts, on the other hand, are final. Confusing the two is what causes emotional overreaction. When disrespect feels like a verdict, the heart rushes to defend itself, the ego flares up, and patience feels impossible. But when it is recognized as a test, the mind slows down. Tests are meant to be passed, not argued with. They are not about proving anything to people. They are about proving sincerity, restraint, and awareness before Allah. Every test comes with options. Disrespect tests whether you will react impulsively or respond with intention. It tests whether you will let your emotions take the lead or allow your values to guide you. The one who disrespects you is unknowingly playing a role in your growth. They do not control the outcome of the test. You do. The insult, the sarcasm, the dismissal, these are just triggers. The real moment of truth lies in what follows. If you react with anger, you may feel momentary relief, but you fail the deeper test of self-mastery. If you pause, restrain yourself, and choose patience, you transform the moment into an act of worship. The same event becomes either a loss or an elevation, depending on your response. Seeing disrespect as a test also frees you from obsession with fairness. Tests are not designed to feel fair. They are designed to measure endurance and faith. Many people say, "Oh, but I didn't deserve that." That may be true, but tests are rarely about deserving. They are about refining. Gold is not melted because it is impure in appearance, but because its value is revealed under heat. In the same way, patience under disrespect reveals the true weight of your character. When you refuse to react, you are not denying your dignity. You are protecting it. You are choosing growth over gratification. There is also a hidden mercy in this perspective. When disrespect is seen as a test, it stops living rent-free in your mind. You no longer replay the words, fantasize about comebacks, or rehearse arguments that will never happen. You accept that the moment has already served its purpose. Tests do not need closure from people. They need completion through correct action. Once you respond with restraint, the test ends. Peace returns faster. Emotional energy is conserved. Your heart stays light because it is not burdened by regret. Silence, in this context, becomes deeply misunderstood. Many people equate silence with weakness, submission, or fear. In reality, silence can be one of the most powerful expressions of strength. Silence is not the absence of ability to speak. It is the presence of control. It is a conscious choice made by someone who knows they could respond but chooses not to. This distinction matters. Weakness is being unable to respond. Strength is choosing restraint despite having every reason and ability to react. Silence is not passive. It is intentional. When someone disrespects you, your tongue becomes the most dangerous weapon you carry. Words spoken in anger have a way of outliving the emotion that created them. Silence acts as a shield, protecting you from saying something that cannot be taken back. It buys time for the heart to settle and for wisdom to catch up with emotion. In many cases, silence ends the conflict before it even begins. Disrespect thrives on reaction. When there is no reaction, it starves. Silence also shifts power dynamics in ways people rarely anticipate. Disrespect is often an attempt to provoke, dominate, or extract an emotional response. When you remain silent, the other person is left alone with their behavior. The spotlight turns back on them. This idea also reframes the desire to defend yourself. Many people think defending their honor requires immediate response. In reality, true honor lies in restraint. Anyone can shout back. Anyone can insult in return. That takes no discipline. But to feel the heat rise in your chest and still choose patience, that requires strength. This is the kind of strength that does not need witnesses. It is internal, quiet, and enduring. When you react wisely, you elevate yourself without saying a word. You step into a higher rank where you are no longer controlled by every provocation. There is also a deeper layer. Your reaction reflects who you are becoming, not just who you are in the moment. Every time you choose restraint, you reinforce an identity rooted in self-control. Every time you lash out, you train yourself to do it again. Rank is built over time through repeated choices. One moment of patience may feel small, but it compounds. Over months and years, these moments shape a person who is difficult to shake, difficult to manipulate, and difficult to drag into unnecessary conflict. Rank is also connected to accountability. When you believe that Allah sees not just actions but intentions and reactions, your standard rises. You stop asking, "What can I get away with?" and start asking, "What response is worthy of me?" This mindset alone changes everything. You become selective with your energy. You no longer feel obligated to respond to every slight. You understand that reacting poorly may satisfy the ego, but lowers your standing with Allah. That awareness naturally refines your behavior. Not every comment deserves a response, because not every comment carries weight or truth. Many remarks are spoken from insecurity, jealousy, ignorance, or emotional immaturity. Responding to all of them is exhausting and unnecessary. When you respond to everything, you place yourself on the same level as every voice around you. Discernment is knowing when silence is more appropriate than speech. Just because something is said does not mean it must be answered. Responding indiscriminately also gives people access they have not earned. Your time, emotional energy, and attention are valuable. When you react to every jab, you are handing those resources to anyone who provokes you. Silence is a way of setting boundaries without confrontation. It communicates that not everyone gets your engagement. This is not arrogance, it is self-respect. You are allowed to choose where your energy goes. There is also wisdom in understanding intent. Some people disrespect to provoke a reaction. Others do it to feel powerful. Others speak carelessly without realizing the impact of their words. Responding emotionally often gives them exactly what they want. Silence denies them that reward. When there is no reaction, the disrespect loses momentum. In many cases, the behavior stops on its own because it no longer produces results. Choosing not to respond also protects you from unnecessary regret. Words spoken in response to disrespect are often sharper than intended. Once spoken, they cannot be retrieved. Even if you apologize later, the damage may already be done. Silence prevents you from adding new mistakes to the situation. It keeps your record clean. You may walk away feeling unsatisfied in the moment, but you will feel relieved later when you realize you did not compromise your values. This does not mean you tolerate repeated harm or allow boundaries to be violated indefinitely. It means you choose the right timing and tone for addressing issues. Some matters require calm discussion, not heated exchanges. Some require distance, not debate. By not reacting immediately, you give yourself space to decide the best course of action rather than the loudest one. You move from impulse to intention. Over time, this practice reshapes how you are perceived and how you perceive yourself. People learn that provoking you is ineffective. They either adjust their behavior or fade into irrelevance. More importantly, you begin to trust yourself. You know that no matter what is said, you will not lose control. That confidence is deeply grounding. It brings peace that no argument ever could. In choosing not to respond to every comment, you are not avoiding strength. You are refining it. You are learning to speak when speech adds value, and to remain silent when silence preserves dignity. You stop living reactively and start living deliberately. And in that deliberateness, you protect your heart, elevate your character, and move closer to a standard of conduct that prioritizes patience, wisdom, and accountability over momentary satisfaction. The ego reacts because it is fragile. It feels threatened by disrespect and rushes to defend itself, not because danger is real, but because insecurity is loud. Ego is obsessed with image. How you are seen, how you are spoken about, how quickly you restore dominance in a situation. When someone disrespects you, the ego interprets it as an attack on identity. It does not pause to ask whether the words are true, necessary, or worth engaging. It only asks one question: how do I reassert myself right now? This urgency is what leads to impulsive reactions, raised voices, cutting words, and regret that follows soon after. Faith, on the other hand, reflects before it responds. Reflection slows the moment down. It creates space between the trigger and the action. Faith does not deny the sting of disrespect, but it refuses to let that sting dictate behavior. It asks deeper questions. Will this response please Allah? Will this benefit my heart or harden it? Is reacting going to bring peace or just noise? Reflection turns the moment inward rather than outward. Instead of proving something to people, faith focuses on preserving something within. The difference between ego and faith becomes most visible under pressure. Anyone can speak wisely when calm, but disrespect forces a job. Ego wants immediate satisfaction. Faith wants lasting reward. Ego wants to win the moment. Faith wants to protect the soul. Ego measures success by dominance and validation. Faith measures success by restraint and sincerity. This is why faith-based reflection often feels uncomfortable at first. It denies the ego what it craves most: attention and control. When faith reflects, it reframes disrespect entirely. Instead of seeing it as humiliation, it sees it as an opportunity for purification. The heart asks not, how dare they, but what is expected of me here? This shift is subtle but powerful. It removes the other person from the center of the story and places accountability back where it belongs. Reflection reminds you that people speak from their own wounds, limitations, and intentions. Their words may be loud, but they are not authoritative over your worth. Reflection also protects intention. Many reactions are not rooted in justice, but in pride. Faith exposes this. It forces honesty. It asks whether the response is truly about correcting wrong or simply soothing the ego. This self-awareness is what separates a believer's restraint from mere passivity. It is a conscious choice to act from values rather than impulse. Over time, this practice refines the heart. You become less reactive, not because you feel less, but because you understand more. Patience is often misunderstood as weakness, delay, or silence born from fear. In reality, patience is power under control. It is strength that knows its capacity and chooses restraint deliberately. Anyone can lose control. It takes real power to hold it. Patience does not mean you lack the ability to respond. It means you possess the ability and choose not to misuse it. This is why patience is repeatedly praised as a virtue of the strong, not the passive. Controlled power is far more effective than uncontrolled force. When anger explodes freely, it burns indiscriminately, often harming the person who released it more than anyone else. Patience contains that fire. It does not extinguish emotion. It channels it. It allows you to feel anger without being owned by it. This control protects relationships, reputations, and spiritual standing. It ensures that when you do speak or act, it is intentional and measured rather than reactive and reckless. Patience also preserves clarity. Anger narrows perception. It pushes the mind into extremes and blinds it to consequences. Patience keeps the mind open. It allows you to see options beyond retaliation. Sometimes the strongest move is disengagement. Sometimes it is delayed confrontation. Sometimes it is forgiveness. Without patience, these options never appear. Control gives you access to wisdom that impulse blocks. There is also a quiet confidence embedded in patience. When you are patient, you signal that you are not desperate to be understood or validated. You trust that truth does not require immediate defense. This confidence is unsettling to those who rely on provocation to feel powerful. They expect resistance, not restraint. Patience disrupts their expectations. It removes the stage they were hoping to perform on. From a spiritual perspective, patience transforms pain into reward. Every moment of restraint is counted. Every reaction you withhold for the sake of Allah becomes an act of worship. This awareness changes how patience feels. It is no longer just endurance, it is investment. You are trading a fleeting emotional release for something far greater and lasting. This trade only makes sense when power is under control, not when it is absent. Patience also builds internal authority. When you prove to yourself that you can withstand disrespect without losing control, your self-trust grows. You no longer fear provocation because you know you can handle it. This inner stability is empowering. It frees you from constantly scanning for threats or preparing defenses. You move through life less guarded, less tense, and more grounded. When ego reacts, it seeks to dominate the moment. When faith reflects, it seeks to elevate it. When power is uncontrolled, it destroys. When power is restrained, it protects and builds. These two keynotes work together. Reflection guides patience, and patience strengthens reflection. Over time, they reshape how you experience disrespect entirely. What once felt like an attack begins to feel like a reminder to return to values, to self-mastery, and to a higher standard of conduct that no insult can undermine.